Sorry about that. I realized the music was not appropriate. I'm going to remove that song from the thing because I just realized, oh crap, this one's gonna go away.
Jordan, come on.
Good morning. I have one mini set I need to finish for webs so that we can send this order out today before the snow. So I decided I might as well do it on stream so I have Morgan's Frost to do before. Whoop, hello. Oh, that was good. The lamp just like fell over on itself because, you know, good times. Okay, here, Morgan's Frost. Good morning. Yes. This is the last set I need to do for the webs order. This goes from like a very pale, it's almost only has like hints of lilac in it, to this like really nice light purple shade. We call it Morgan's Frost. Now normally like we do this on a whole skein, and what it is that it is like a white or very pale tip on a darker purple skein. But yeah, so just realized take this off because this is actually going to get in the way of the minis. Don't want to get started. So like I said, need to get this done so that we can get our wholesale order out, because we do wholesale to shops, and this is a wholesale order. But yes, good morning to you too. Purple's my favorite. You and Carrie both really like purples. Also, I counted the number of labels I have. These are the labels, right, that we put, the bands that we put on the bundles. I have exactly 7 left, which is what I need, so I'll print more later when I'm not on a time crunch trying to get stuff done to make today's mail. But I also finally figured out, I'm proud of myself, I figured out this morning how to switch between Twitch accounts and OBS so I don't have to constantly be logging in and out of my personal account and the business account. So that's going to make my life a lot easier going forward in terms of like personal stream versus business stream. I can switch between the 2 accounts easily in OBS. There is in fact a setting for it, and I found it this morning, so I am very proud of myself for having found that and figured it out. Where is the... There it is, okay. Oh, right, I didn't update what color I am working on. I'm still working on Yakos. Where's my mouse? Oh, I'm still working on Yakos. But current base, this can move over so you can see it. Current color is in fact not Into Darkness. I finished that yesterday. It is in fact Morgan's Frost. Oh no, it was delivered to the wrong house. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Oh, that stinks. Ah, I hate when that happens. I was wondering why I have a notification for like a DHL package, and I'm like, what? When did I didn't order anything. And then I forgot I'd pre-ordered a knitting book like 3 months ago. And I'm like, it's finally coming, but it was like published in the UK, so they're being sent DHL. I'm just like, why am I getting a DHL delivery? I didn't order anything. Oh wait, yes I did. In September. Because it was like they were still publishing patterns like individually, like one at a time. Like if you pre-bought it, you would get like updates with all the patterns as they came out. And I thought it was really cool, and I liked all the patterns and stuff. And so like I was waiting for the hardcover edition to come. So I have both the digital. I already have the digital copy, but yeah, Amazon is usually good about that stuff. It's so weird. And it's not like delivered to an address you have access to that you can go get. It's literally like they delivered it to the wrong house and you have no way of getting it kind of thing. That's really crappy. I'm sorry. So I'll just leave these here. But as you can see, this skein is much lighter compared to the others here. I can actually turn this way so you can see the gradation of the colors. So like the two that are side by side, like these two are very similar. But this one's really much lighter, but it does have a like patch of purple in it, which will kind of give it a little bit of a variegated look once. So let me turn this so you can see. So it has like some purple right here on it. Ooh, my connection dropped. What is going on? No, my connection. OBS, what gives? Okay, I don't know what happened there, but apparently my connection dropped. I am sorry. Aw, and you can't get it from your neighbor? That really stinks, Finn. I'm sorry. But anyways, since my connection is back, what I was saying about the colors real quick, because this is an AHR stream, is that we have like the darker bit of purple here on this scheme, but most of it is much lighter. And then it goes darker across. So you can see kind of, if I hold it up in this light, you can kind of see the gradient start. I don't know why I'm so flimmy this morning. I think it's because there's a storm coming, and the weather does actually get to me. So my goal today is to get this done, have an appointment I need to have, get out to Becca's house, do inventory of a trunk show that came back to us, get this in the mail, and then get home before the snow really starts. That's my goal for today. That's my goal, is to basically make it there and back before about 5 p.m. And it's just 9:30 now, so. Should be able to at least get this done before my appointment, which is in about an hour, but I should be able to get this done, so. That's why I'm like super short, like one set stream, because I need to go to an appointment. I mean, it's a virtual appointment. I don't have to actually go anywhere. I'm not going to be in any danger. And I just realized this one, I put this on backwards, on the Swift backwards. Lovely. So I have to pull it off, turn it around, and put it back on. And try not to mess up the skeins I cut all the ties for already. Because, haha, that's a thing. Come here. Come here. I have the ends of like the two I already cut that I'm trying to not drop. Come here. There we go. Okay, got him. All right. There we go. Crisis averted. Or not. Did I screw it up? Yes, I did screw it up because I read the ties wrong. Oh my god. Oh, thanks. And of course now I just mess this up again because I realized I had this on the right way around the first time and I messed it up and now I've cut the tie. This is what I get for trying to rush. And this is totally 100% my fault. I will 100% own up to that. Me trying to do things quickly. First thing, well, not first thing in the morning, but early enough in the morning that I'm still a little sluggish. If that makes sense. So this needs to go like this. I had this on the right way the first time around, and I messed up. Because of course I did. Because of course I did. You know? Come on. Don't be like that. Come on. Okay. There we go. Okay, now it's fixed for good this time. Hopefully. Because, you know, fun times having to take this on and off with the stuff that's being undone and the ties are wonky and Yes, I know it's my own fault. Yes, I just got yarn caught on the thing. Come on. There we go. Okay, this goes back. This is the inner tie that needs to stay on the inside of these. I'm just talking to myself while I do this. I'm not actually looking at chat or anything. I'm so sorry right now. I'm trying to fix this because I messed up. And yeah, so if you said anything, I am not reading it because I'm paying attention to the yarn here. Sorry. There we go. Okay. I'm not a coffee person, I'm a tea person, but it's the same sentiment. Yeah, it's totally this exact same sentiment. I'm more definitely a tea person. Honestly, I think coffee's too bitter, just personally. But yeah. I mean, what's crazy is that, like, you'd think I'd be functioning before, like, 9:30, because my husband's alarm goes off at, his first alarm goes off at 6 a.m., but he's that person who will literally get out of bed, take a shower, and then crawl back into bed and shove his cold hands up my back for another, like, 20 minutes before his second alarm goes off at 6:45. And I'm just like, please don't. I mean, I married him, so obviously, like, that's not a deal breaker, but it is kind of annoying some mornings, especially when it's cold and it's supposed to snow that day. Who messaged me? Meanwhile, like, I'm getting into a conversation with someone about, like, how American bread is way too sweet, and I'm actually, like, in agreement because I sent them a picture of the marmalade jar that I used on my toast this morning, and the first two ingredients for corn syrup. It was like high fructose corn syrup and then corn syrup, and it's just like, no wonder the marmalade is so sweet. First two ingredients are sugar and more sugar. And she's like, that's not marmalade, that's jelly. And I'm just like, well, it's labeled as marmalade because it still has, like, the rind bits in it, so it's technically marmalade. And her response was, dial-up internet is still internet. That doesn't mean it's good enough anymore. And I'm just like, well, it used to be all we had, so, you know. And she's like, shush, that's not my point. Yes, Carrie, I'm talking about you if you're watching. I just think it was funny. Because, yes, American marmalade is very sweet. Yeah, his hands will be, like, frigid, from being downstairs or, like, driving home. Because, like, his drive home is short enough, it's, like, not even 20 minutes on a good day, that, like, sometimes he won't even bother turning the heat on in his car in the winter. And so, like, he'll get home and his hands will be ice. And so, like, could you not? You know, like, could you not? I literally will, like, do the ultra dorky thing, because it looks really dorky, of tucking my shirt into my pants to keep him from shoving his hands up my shirt when he gets home from work, because it's cold. Because he won't turn the damn heat on in his car on a drive home when it's below freezing out. And I'm just like, dude. So yes, I'm wearing another fun Hanukkah shirt today. I was wearing the Hanukkah overalls yesterday. This one is a fun shirt today. I wish I had heated seats in my car. Honestly, I kind of regret getting the car I did because it came down to two options. It was like a Honda hatchback that had remote start and heated seats but cost a little bit more. But it had like the northern package, right? Or the car I ended up getting, which is a Nissan Sentra sedan, like a four-door sedan, that was less, because it was less because original like purchase price was about the same for the two vehicles, but the Sentra was a certified pre-owned, so it was cheaper. So I ended up going with the Sentra because it was cheaper, but I kind of wish I'd gone with the Honda because A, I could have fit more bins of yarn in the Honda because it's a hatchback. I could have put the seats down. I could fit more yarn in the Honda in terms of like driving trunk shows places here in New England. I can only fit 6 bins in my sedan. I probably could have fit 8 or 10 into the Honda hatchback. Whereas, and the Nissan, my Sentra also does not have heated seats and does not have remote start. So as a New Englander in the winter, those are like, I really wish I had heated seats and remote start as a New Englander in the winter. And yes, tonight is the 7th night. We are in the 6th day of Hanukkah today. We lit the 6th candle last night because the days of the holiday are sunset to sunset. So you are correct. 6th day today. 7th night tonight. And thank you for the Hanukkah wishes. I do appreciate it. And like I was spoiled with the first car I drove, back to like the original topic of like heated seats and stuff. I was spoiled with the first car I drove because it was an old Volvo that my Nana had. This is my dad's mom. She stopped driving, and so we brought the car. So the car was bought up here in Massachusetts, and then it went to Florida for many years, and then it came back up here to New Hampshire, which is almost Massachusetts. Close enough, right? And I drove it all through high school, and that had heated seats. And it had heated seats, and it had power windows, but it didn't have remote start because it was a carbureted engine. It was an inline 4, so it was a 1990 Volvo 240DL, carbureted engine, inline 4. It had heated seats and power windows, but it did not have power locks, nor did it have ABS or power steering. And that was the first car I ever drove as a teenager. I still have some habits from that car because before ABS, you were supposed to pump the brakes when you were stopping in bad conditions, because otherwise you could lock the wheels. Guess what I still do in bad conditions on the road? Pump the brakes, even though my modern Nissan has ABS. Also, like, it was great. You literally could not lock yourself out of that car. It was amazing. You could not do it. It was like the best thing because I could go, turn the car on, shut the door and walk away and come back, and I could still get in the car because to lock the driver's door, you either had to be inside the car with the door shut and press down the thing, or outside the car with the key in your hand, shut the door, put the key in, and turn it to lock the driver's door. You could not lock yourself out, and it was amazing. I miss that car. It was a good car. I don't say was. It is a good car. My dad still has it. It's still registered to his name. It's still on the road. The damn thing's 30 years old. It's still going. I actually used it one summer before I got my current car because my Toyota that I was driving got borrowed because somebody needed aircon in the car. And so I drove the Volvo again for a few weeks a couple of years ago. Good car. I mean, it won't go above 70 miles an hour without having a fit because it weighs 3 tons and the engine isn't that powerful. But, you know, this is like my favorite song. This is honestly like my favorite song that I have on the playlist. I really like this one. There we go. All right. Sorry, I'm just rambling about cars now. Like, I could actually ramble for a while. I actually really like cars. Like, I will watch the make 'em auto auctions on, like, what is it, NBCSN? I'll just watch the auctions. I'll be like, ooh, that one's pretty. Ooh, that one's pretty. Ooh, I don't like the paint job they gave that one. Oh, that's a fun restoration or modification or whatever. Like, I am totally a gearhead in a lot of ways. Power windows or power locks. It's 2014. Oh, I'm surprised, honestly, that like a car made in this century does not have power locks. Like, that's just crazy. But the thing with my Nana's car was that, like I said, you couldn't lock the driver's door from the outside if you didn't put the key in the door and turn it. So, like I said, you couldn't lock yourself out or leave it running unless you had a second key because, But my mom had an old Chrysler that she replaced with her current SUV, which is a GMC Terrain. But she had a Chrysler Fifth Avenue, which just Google 1993 gold Chrysler Fifth Avenue. It's one of the ones that has the fabric on the outside of the roof to be extra posh and fancy, and I'm using posh deliberately because I feel like fancy does not have enough, I don't know. Fancy doesn't seem like the right word. Posh seems more like the right word because it's such a stupid idea to put fabric on the outside of a car where it's going to be exposed to the weather. Why? But anyways, that car was so old. It belonged to her uncle, so it belonged to my great uncle. And then when he stopped driving, she got the car to replace her 1991 Chrysler Fifth Avenue. And the key, by the time we got rid of that car, the ignition key was so worn because the car was, almost 30 some odd years old. It was 25, 27. Let's see, we got rid of it in 2016, so it was 13, 14 years. But anyways, the ignition was really, really worn. The ignition key was very, very worn, could not copy the key worn. And you could get in, turn on the car with the ignition, yank the key out of the ignition, the car would keep running, get out, shut the door, and walk away. That's how worn that ignition key was. So I've had to call a tow truck a couple of times. One time was I actually popped a tire on the Volvo when I was a teenager because I went somewhere and I parallel parked up against the curb. Now the problem is that here in New Hampshire, they use granite a lot for curbs because it's cheap, it's easy. We're known as the granite state. There's a lot of granite around. The problem is granite is really, really sharp if you don't smooth it, and they tend to leave the curbs rough. So if you even brush a curb, you can pop a tire. You know how you sometimes bump a curb when you're parallel parking because it's a tight spot or whatever, right? Yeah, I brushed the sidewall against the curb and the tire popped. So I come out and I hadn't realized it when I parked. So I come out and I go to leave and the tire's flat. And so I'm that person where, because I know enough, I get the spare out of the trunk, I get the car up on the jack, and I'm trying to use the thing to get the nuts off to get the tire off, right? I know how to do it. I've changed a car tire before. Problem is that this car's tire had not been changed or taken off in so long, because this was just after we brought it back up from Florida, that the bolts had rusted. I had to call AAA and tell them, I said, you need to send someone with an air wrench. And they're like, what? I'm like, you need to send a truck that has an air wrench because the bolts are rusted. And they were like, yeah, sure. You're just a teenage girl. You don't know what you're talking about. The guy gets there and he tries to do it. He's like, oh yeah, I need an air wrench for these. I'm like, do you have one? He's like, no, we had to call another truck. I'm just like, I told you. No, don't listen to the person who's trying to change the tire in a car, So finally, somebody with an air wrench got there and they were able to get it off and get the spare on because, hey, the bolts were rusted. It's like, no wonder I couldn't get them off myself, They'd rusted on. There's another time I had to call a tow truck and they didn't believe me either on that one. I hate it. Sometimes being female sucks. Basically, I had a rear strut on my cargo, which meant that the thing holding the car up off of the tire snapped and was grinding into my tire. And so I pull over and I called AAA on my cell phone. I said, hey, I'm sitting at this business on this street at this address. Send a flatbed. They're like, no, we'll just send a tow truck. I'm like, no, you don't. This is a front-wheel drive car, and it's the back wheels that are having a problem. If you tow this thing, you're going to blow a tire and kill someone. Send a flatbed. I was arguing with them for 20 minutes before they finally sent a flatbed. It's like, no, I know what I'm talking about. My tire's almost ground through from the piece of jagged metal sticking into it. If you try to tow it on that tire, there will in fact be a blowout, and there will in fact be a problem. And a bigger problem than what I have right now. Shoot, this got messed up. Dang it. Stop. You bad yarn behave. There we go. Oh, that's what I forgot. I forgot my glasses downstairs. No jack. Oh my god, are you kidding me? No jack? Oh, that is the worst. I'm so sorry. That is terrible. No jack. Oh goodness. Oh, that is like just the worst double whammy. Oh my god, no jack and the spare is flat. That is terrible. I am so sorry. Well, that's something at least. I actually have a pump I keep in my trunk just in case, I need to put air in my tires or something. It just runs off of like the cigarette outlet. You can get them for pretty cheap at like Walmart and stuff. It's just an air pump. You can use it on like bike tires and inflatable mattresses and car tires and stuff. It's got all the different like attachments for the different kinds of openings and valves and stuff. So it's pretty cool. I'm just glad that all of the car issues I've had have happened since cell phones were invented. Like, I cannot imagine, like, for my parents, it must have sucked. Like, if they had problems, like, on a drive or something in, like, the 60s or the 70s or even the 80s, just, like, getting stuck on the side of the road somewhere and having to, like, walk in the rain or bad weather to a payphone and get someone to come and get them or anything. It's terrible. In some ways, cell phones are a very good thing. You're a lot safer out on the roads than you used to be. That's actually why I got my first cell phone, was I got my driver's license. So my dad was like, okay, you need to be able to call someone now because payphones are disappearing. So here's a cell phone. It was a really, really basic Nokia. Shoot. So see how this, I don't know if you guys can see it on screen. There's a strand here, and this came undone from the hook, which means I have to wind back now and make sure that nothing got tangled because this came out of the thing. It's not my morning with these. Like, seriously, it is not. Okay. Nope, it's overlapped with something else, so. I'm gonna go all the way back to the beginning and try again with this because it got really messed up, which is always fun. I think this is the second time I've done this one. This one just does not want to get wound, apparently. Alright, good enough on that one. There's a couple of strands that are a little wonky, but I'll take it. It's better than what it was.
It's all about humanity.
The yarn is just not behaving this morning. I think, I swear the yarn knows. Now, this is going to sound really, really silly, and I know it sounds really silly. As someone who's, originally studying physics in college/university, I know this sounds silly, but sometimes I swear the yarn, knows when you're in a rush and trying to do something, because that's always when you have the most problems. Yeah, the Volvo I used to drive didn't have AC either. Well, it had AC installed, but it ran on some vacuum hoses, and they'd corroded over the years, and my dad didn't have the, $3,000 to replace the system. I bet it was very warm. I would have kept shoes on, though, just as a personal preference, because it can be dangerous driving without shoes, because, if your foot is sweaty, you can lose a grip on the pedals if there's an emergency, but that's just me. Unless you were wearing shoes in the car but took them off when you got out, that's something else. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying my personal preference would be, even if I'm dying of heat stroke, to leave the shoes on because it's safer for driving. But yeah, I bet I've driven in the Volvo can get very warm. Oh my god. So like you were done and then the cop's like, hey, what's going on? Ugh. Oh my god. Like literally like you don't have AC in the car. You're obviously like fixing something. Like why did they put you in the cop car? Like what? Or is it just to help you cool down? Did that because he had AC? Like I hope he was just being nice? Question mark? Oh, okay. Just the front seat. Okay, I'm like, if you ended up in the back seat, there would be a problem. But no, okay, front seat, he was just being nice, letting you cool off a little. Okay. Cool. That's... Is that a... Okay, that's an Instagram message. That looked like... Sorry, at a distance it looked like... At a distance it looked... The Instagram logo looked like the, like, weather warning logo on my phone, so... But yeah. I gotta kneel down for a sec here. There's a tangled cord on the floor that I need to deal with. Because I can feel it tugging on the headphone cord while I move around, and so I need to... There we go. It was just caught on the edge of the desk, so I just uncaught it. There we go. All right. Problem solved. All right, one more mini off of these skeins, then I gotta do the last 3 skeins, and then I'm done. And I should be able to do that in the next 40 minutes. No, 30 minutes. 30 minutes, because I want to be done. I want the stream done before I have to start my appointment, so 30 minutes. I should be able to do that. Yeah, there was so back when I had my previous car, so I had a Volvo and then a Toyota, and now I have a Nissan. And I used to have to pump up one of the tires on the Toyota all the time because the seal stuck, and somebody came over. Oh, I bet it was chaos. Carrie mentioned it to me that it was chaos, and then I asked Hedgie about it too. Well, because like there's a lot of lurkers in that server, so when there's an @everyone ping, a lot of the lurkers pop up out of nowhere. Not that lurking is bad; it's not. I lurked in that server for months before I ever started talking, but. You know, it's a little more chaotic because a lot more people are like, hey, I actually like pay attention when there's an @everyone ping. But yeah, I'm betting it was chaos. I've seen, like, @everyone mod pings that were accidents in other servers, and yeah. Oh, it was funny. So my husband got home yesterday, right after I was done streaming. I finished up some computer stuff. He got home. I went downstairs to be with him, and he turns to me and he goes, "Hey, so my mom wants you to add some stuff to your holiday wish list because she can't get you anything because there's only one thing on your wish list." I'm like, "What?" It turns out, like, so I'm guessing he bought most of the stuff that was on there, or other people did. So like, or stuff wasn't available or whatever, and so like there was one thing left on like my wish list. So I'm like, okay, I can move some stuff from other wish lists to that, like. Basically just put like some cute stationery and stuff that I was planning to like get myself on there because, you know, I didn't want to put anything super, super expensive on there because I feel bad because she's my mother-in-law, so, you know. But yeah, I can only imagine the chaos of the @everyone paying in a server where there's a lot of lurkers. this is the last one for these colors. Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, I feel like, you know, his family's kind of like if they receive a gift, they give a gift kind of thing. So if somebody's gifting them something, they want to gift that person something. It's kind of like a reciprocating thing. So yeah, I'd had stuff on the wish list, but I guess him and my mom took care of most of it. So I had to go put more stuff on so that his mom could get me some things. I basically kept it to items like $50 or less. A lot of them were like 10 or under items because it was like cute stationery and stuff. Hey, I joke that like I root for like the Pats and the Bruins and the Celtics and the Red Sox by default because I grew up here, but I don't. It's all sports ball to me, so. I can talk about cars all day, but sports, meh. Which is hilarious because on my mom's side, my grandparents have 4 grandchildren, 3 boys and me. And out of all of us, I was the only one with any interest in cars. None of my male cousins had any interest in cars. My grandfather was so disappointed. Papa was. But he had me, so he taught me a lot about cars and engines when I was a kid. So I just watched an episode of, my husband and I watched an episode of Hot Wings on YouTube where like they get celebrities to eat like stupidly hot, or well, they go up in hotness, like severity of like Scoville scale. It's called Hot Ones. Anyways, they ended their current season with Daniel Radcliffe. And apparently Daniel Radcliffe, aka the guy who played Harry Potter in the movies, is into American fantasy football. And that's because when he was in New York doing a play, basically somebody was like, hey, I just need another person, do you mind? And he was like, no. And then his team was 0-3 because he just wasn't paying attention. He's like, well, I don't like losing. And so then he like got really deep into fantasy football, and to this day he still plays it. It was really funny. To hear that like Daniel Radcliffe, like who you think of like the most British of British, right? It plays like American fantasy football. It was really funny. Yeah, I've never had a workplace where like people have really been into sports. I mean, I guess if I had someone or a group of people around who cared, like, I would probably be more into it. But nobody in my family cares, and nobody in my husband's family cares. So, right? Shrugs. But yeah, you should go watch that episode of Hot Ones with Daniel Radcliffe. It's actually Hot Ones in general is pretty entertaining. A few weeks ago, they had The Undertaker on, a.k.a. the wrestler The Undertaker, like The Undertaker. And, yeah, that was actually pretty cool. I used to actually grow up watching wrestling, too. I was very much a tomboy as a kid. Grew up watching wrestling and Power Rangers, and... the snake's name is Nagini. Nice! What was it? I saw someone, it was a Tumblr post, you can Google it, where somebody was like, they told their vet their turtle's name was Susan because, even though it was a boy, because they didn't want to admit they'd named it Voldemort. Yeah, like, I mean, I literally knit a giant shawl in Hufflepuff colors because I got sorted into Hufflepuff, so like, I mean, I admit to being a Harry Potter nerd. But people routinely think it's a Bruins shawl because New England, so I just kind of just nod my head and whatever. Watson and Crick. Nice! I mean, okay, Watson and Crick, yes. Franklin, okay, yes. Helig, yeah. Like, I am down for the nerdy names. Yes, Voldemort. You can Google it. It's a Tumblr post. There's screenshots all over. But yes, you can Google it. There's also one with, what was it? Tributes to Lucifer. Basically, somebody comes in with, like, a jet black, They go to a vet's office and they call it back, and the vet tech who's writing the post is like, yeah, so I think it's going to be like a cat or something, you know, and out of this box comes like a jet black rabbit. And it's like this like super punk dude with like, you know, the spikes on his coat and everything, who like took over the rabbit from a friend and wanted to make sure like it was healthy and doing all the right stuff. But yeah, you can Google them. Yeah, it's really funny. People have some good names for pets out there. But yeah, Voldemort for a tortoise. There we go. Got that straightened out. All right. Almost done. Just need to get these. I figure if I don't label before my appointment, that's no big deal, but I want to get like the winding done before my appointment. I mean, if you have goats and alpaca, you just need to learn how to spin, and you can take the middleman out of the equation. Though there are mills that will like process fiber for you, you know, around the country, various mills. I haven't had a lot of goat cheese, but I've heard it's really good. But alpaca's really nice. And it's really nice to spin, though. It's really slippery to spin. Like, it's hard to spin alpaca thick because it's so slippery. So it wants to just pull apart so it ends up really thin. Because, yes, I spin, as well as knit and crochet, and I have a loom, and yeah. Not a big loom, just like a lap loom, but yeah. Well, when I say lap loom, I mean it's 15 inches, so it's a decent size loom. But it's not like a floor loom. I know someone who has a floor loom, and I'm just like, oh my god. I couldn't fit a floor loom in this room, actually, because the ceiling's too low. Floor looms are like 6 feet tall, and this ceiling is not 6 feet high. It's not. So I couldn't even fit a floor loom up here if I wanted. Hi, Zoe. You better not have peed on the couch again. Yeah, I'm looking at you. You better not have. I'm not going to be happy with you if you did. Right, I gotta fill the humidifier. So if your goal for 2021 is to knit a sweater, you are in luck. If you want to knit a sweater for yourself, most men's sweaters have very little shaping, unlike women's sweaters, which tend to have a lot of shaping, and shaping makes sweaters more difficult. So knitting sweaters that don't have a lot of shaping is much easier than knitting sweaters that have a lot of shaping. So if you want to knit yourself a sweater, you're in luck. A lot of men's sweaters are straight tubes from armpit to waist, and that's good. It's easier knitting that way. But it's actually not that hard to knit a sweater. It's basically like, have you knit in the round? Can you knit a tube? Can you attach tubes to other tubes? Great, you can knit a sweater. So. Oh my god, honestly that would be hilarious, and there's probably a pattern out there for it. But yeah, basically if you know how to pick up stitches and knit in the round, you can knit a sweater. Really. If you want a seam, you'll have to learn how, if you want to do a pieced sweater where you knit everything in pieces and then sew it together, you'll have to learn how to do like some seaming. But other than that, sweaters are not difficult. They're really not. Like socks are trickier in a lot of ways because with a sweater, you don't have to make knitting take weird angles most of the time, but in a sock, you have to make it do a 90-degree turn for the heel. So in some ways, socks are a little trickier because of that turn, whereas sweaters are just, okay, here's a body, here's a sleeve, here's a sleeve. Put it all together. It's, in some ways, you know. Also, like if you want to do a really simple sweater, but still have something you might wear, there are multiple patterns for like Weasley sweater style sweaters on Ravelry, and you know, they're literally just rectangles that you put together, so those are really good too. But I think that would be a funny sweater, like a couple sweater with 2 arms and 2 head holes, and then they just wear it together. That's funny. I'm not sure it would ever get, like, would they actually use it? Like, okay, here's the thing. Are they the kind of people that would actually use that kind of sweater, or are they not? Because, like, if they're not ever going to actually use it, I wouldn't put in the time it takes to knit it, because that can breed resentment. There's called the sweater curse for a reason in knitting, because, you know, you put all this time and effort into a sweater, and then the person doesn't enjoy it, and so you get, you know, upset. Of course, Zoe, you sit on my sweater. Thank you. Appreciated. Not. Oops, sorry. Did not mean to hit the mic with my ring. If you know they're going to actually use it, then it's probably totally 100% worth it. But, like, I don't make my husband anything knitted. Unless somebody actually asks me and I know that they're going to use the thing, I don't offer knitted gifts because I know that they're not necessarily going to be appreciated. So I just kind of avoid it. Unless somebody specifically, like, comes to me and says something, I won't do it because there's so much work that goes into them. Okay, yeah. We had such a small wedding party that, like, it was literally, like, it was 6 people, including us, right? So he had a best woman, I had a maid of honor, a bridesmaid, and a bridesman. And that was it, and that was us, so. Because I couldn't choose between my 3 friends. It's like, if I was just gonna have one person, I couldn't have chose between them, so I had the 3, but he had a best woman, so. We're kind of, you know, egalitarian like that. I had a bridesman, my husband had a best woman, you know. Oh, and funny thing, right? Like, this is how much fiber and yarn and the fiber community has influenced my life. When we were looking at engagement rings, literally my ring choice was partially dictated by not wanting something that stuck up off my hand to get caught on yarn and fiber. Like, literally that was a consideration I took into when we went shopping for a ring. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, I'm dead serious. This was a consideration. I did not want something sticking up out of my finger with, like, prongs and sharp edges and stuff that could get caught on fiber, like when I was spinning, or if I was knitting, or if I had my hand in a dye pot. Like, it was literally a consideration for my ring. It's Bird's Eye. Thank you for the follow, and welcome to the channel. Thank you very much. Alright, there we go. One more turn on that. Is Outlook open on my computer so I can open that email? Yes, it is. Good. Oh, okay, it's just Tatsu. Nobody's DMing me on Discord. Cool. Good. Okay, cool. Yeah. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I mean, my ring ended up being an antique, but it doesn't have any of the sticky yuppie stuff. When I say an antique, I mean like it's 120, 130 years old, so none of the sticky yuppie stuff. So, yeah. We ended up buying a ring that was on consignment somewhere. Like, I'm serious. Like, it was on consignment at a, like, jewelry shop. From some estate sale. And then my husband designed the band to go with it because it didn't come with the band because it was a, you know, a secondhand ring. So he just, because the engineer that he is, he designed the band to go with it. Actually, if you go into voice in Stitchcord and you search for posts that I made, I posted some pictures of my ring last week, I think. If you want to see it. I can also hold my hand up to this camera real fast. So you can see it's like it's not going to focus because it's too close, but it sticks up, but it's smooth. So yeah. All right, 3 more minis, and I have about 10 minutes, so I think I can do this if I concentrate and I stop talking for a moment. I'm guessing you went and looked at the pics in Stitchcord? Yeah. Yeah, because I put like really nice detailed pics there. But yeah, I got lucky with the ring. We found it, and I absolutely fell in love with it. So that's what we ended up getting. And like, what's funny is that we found it. It was like the second shop we went to. I took pictures of the ring, and then we went down to the Diamond District in Boston, and we were looking around for the whole weekend. And pictures of the ring I am now wearing are like the pics I was showing like other jewelers, like, oh, something like this, something like this. And finally, my husband was like, "How about I just get you that ring?" Because it was the one I kept wanting. Tia, oh shoot. Tivoyare Kiyama, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. It is appreciated. Hope you enjoy yarn and lots of it. Sorry, I'm struggling to read your name. It only flashed up on screen for just a sec, and I have the actual like list of recent follows up on a second screen, but I don't have my glasses on, so it's actually a little hard for me to read it over there. So I can actually make it bigger. Where's my plus? Tvoya Rekiyama. Tvoya Rekiyama. Thank you for the follow. Took me a sec to say your name. My apologies. But I appreciate the follow. It's very nice, and thank you. So I have 2 more minis of each color to do, and then I'm calling it for the stream because I have a 10:30 appointment, and I have 18 minutes. But yeah, almost. My husband designed the band, so that's always fun. And we designed it in CAD, so literally when we had it cast, we literally just went to the jeweler, handed them like a 6-inch plastic version plus a thumb drive with the CAD file, and here you go, please cast this. They were like, what? we don't have to design it? No, we just need you to cast it because we can't cast it ourselves. Because, you know, we don't have a crucible in our house to melt metals. His 3D printer only does plastic, and it doesn't go that small. Hence why we had, like, the 6-inch across version. Because his printer couldn't print actual, like, ring size. So he just printed it at, like, 500%, and, you know, that worked. They asked if they could keep the, like, plastic model, like, just to show people. It's like, yeah, sure, like, whatever. We don't care. It's fine. I mean, considering he's considered repairing his chainmail, I think we'll end up with the crucible at some point. Maybe not in this house, maybe when we have slightly more space in a house that looks like... So my requirements for our next home are a full height second story, and a garage. Because I would like to not have to clean my car off every time it snows. I would like to be able to park in a garage and just have to deal with the driveway. Thank you very much. I've literally dealt with cars, you know, for the last 20 years, and so it's just like cleaning snow off. I'm like, could I just stop, please? Yes, but I would like a garage and a full height second story in our next home. You know, I would like a home where me, as a human who is only 5'2", does not risk hitting her head on the ceiling, right? Like, yeah. Okay, anyways. This is the last mini I have to wind, so I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to end the stream because I have something in 15 minutes. Oh, fun. I've actually done pottery on it. I did pottery back in college. That was fun. So, like, modern kilns are difficult to build, like modern kilns, but like old-timey kilns, like stuff that like say like they would have used thousands of years ago, those are like actually pretty easy to make on your own. So it really depends on like what type of kiln he's making. But that sounds really fun, yeah. Ooh, yeah, that stinks. I've never done much woodworking, but I've heard it can be really nice. But yeah, we don't have a garage here, which means that, like, we have a shed in our yard, but the shed is on the opposite end of the yard from where the driveway is, so we can't even, like, store a snowblower in it for the winter to do the driveway, so it kind of stinks. I really wish we could move the shed to the other side of the yard so that it was like next to the driveway so we could use it to have a snowblower. You know what? I have the time. I'm just going to label these now so that I don't have to do it after, because it'll take me 2 minutes to get to my online appointment, because it is in fact online. So I'm going to do that. So I'm just going to take these leftovers off here. Come on. There we go. Keep trying to adjust the mic so y'all can't hear me breathing on it, but can still hear me talking, and it's like the most annoying thing, so I hate hearing my own breath. Alright. So, this is Morgan's Frost. So labels. Gradient set labels. Here we go. Let's get these done real quick. I always pre-sticky the bands because I find it easier. Here, I'll hold it up so you can see in this camera because it's easier. So I always pre-sticky them with the colorway here, like on the band, so that when I do it, I don't have to like sticker it and hold it in place. It's already stickered. Much easier that way. I had exactly enough bands. Exactly. So let me hold up the full gradient so you can see. Now keep in mind, this is only sold through web, so if anybody watching wants this gradient, you have to go to yarn.com and order it from there, because we don't sell it on our website. But this is the full Morgan's Frost gradient. From the light to the dark. Yeah, Webs has some exclusive colors from us that we don't carry ourselves. And that's because our contract with them is really old. And so, like, you know, they get some exclusive stuff. Also, they're Webs. So, you know. But here's the bundle all done up. There you go. All right, now to do the rest of these really fast. Now that I held that one up, I can bundle the rest of these really quickly. Yes, phone, I know. It's like I set a 15-minute alarm, and then my phone's like, hey, you have this on your calendar, and it's 10 minutes from now. And I'm just like, yes, I know. Leave me alone. I know. I'm almost done. And I'm just putting them here where you can see on the table. Oh, it's like the mic is literally like above my nose, and it still could hear that when I breathe out. That's very annoying. I don't like that. Sorry. I try to like not get the breath noises on the mic. Maybe if I put it like farther away from my mouth and just talk a little bit louder, you know, that'll be okay. Oh my god, I'm tangled in the cord. Stop. It's not my morning. Apparently, it's just not my morning. It is so gray out. Like, I don't want to leave the house, but I have to leave the house, and it's just so gray out. Ugh. Because there's a storm coming. We're supposed to get, like, at minimum 8 foot of snow. So, you know, that's always fun. I hope to be home tonight before that starts. All right, that is the last one. So that is it. So thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the people who followed. It's all very much appreciated. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.